Good morning, guys. Eugene here from Genius Trader. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another weekly Forex forecast. Um, you know, Last week it really tested our, patience. We had to wait and wait and wait for setups, for our pivot points, but we only got one, which was USD CAD, and also it played tricks on us. The market makers played tricks on us. But at the end of the day, we always come out on top, even though we tried, a few times, to get it. But anyway, let's get into this week's one. Into the next week's Forex forecast. Next week I'll be focusing on a few pairs, unlike any other week. So it's going to be just, Euro USD, Pound USD, USD Swiss franc, USD JPY, CAD JPY, USD CAD, and gold. So I'm gonna be showing you next week's pivot points. I did say that if you don't get pivot points, just don't trade. Just wait and wait until you get, at least a pivot point. Then when you trade in the pivot point, you know what you're doing, right? Even if even if it loses, you don't lose a lot. Pivot points, that's why I love them, because when you lose, you lose about 10 pips, per position. You lose 15, 20 pips, not even, more than 50 pips on each, position. But when you make profits, you can start at 100 pips, 200 pips, and more. So even when you lose, you know that, okay, I lost, but I can always recover. But if you enter the market in the middle, then you wait for that pivot point and it gets to the pivot point and it breaks it, then you lose even more. So it's always better to wait and be patient. Like I said during the week, that rushing to get into the market is like rushing to lose your investment. So always be patient, wait. Even though you get that setup and you lose, just wait, just be patient and see what happens next. So I'm gonna be sharing with you the next week's pivot points. Um, Next week should be better. The previous weeks we always got our pivot points. We never lost since we started this YouTube channel, and this week was the first time I actually lost on the pivot points ever since we started the YouTube channel. Market makers were showing us who's boss, obviously, but that's fine. We always will always come out on top. Losing is inevitable. Like we're gonna lose, sometimes, but as long as we're not losing a lot. So the first one will be your Euro US dollar. The first pivot point for the next week is the same as this week because we didn't get it. The market was just ranging, so it's gonna be here at 19200. And we're going to be selling all the way down to 117 and 116 zone. So those are going to be your two zones. And if we get a break, which I highly doubt at the moment, then we'll be going all the way to 122 zone. But for now, let's focus on 119 and see what happens there. The pound, US dollar, we got like we got in yesterday. I did mention the next week's pivot point in the premium channel before we closed the day, which was at 290. And right now we are in a bit of we are in a bit of profit, about 48 pips in profit, because we got in around the zone yesterday. So this comes to show that this shows that next week will be better, because already we closed the week on a high. Trying to regain all that was lost and even make more. So from here, we're looking into selling all the way to 128,800 zone. The first support zone will come in at 129,500, which is, which is here, 129,500, which is here. So it's gonna have to look what's gonna happen when the pair gets here, and obviously we'll be getting out of all positions at 128,800 zone. But also this is a channel, so if we get a break here, then we'll be going to the bottom of this channel. But for now, I don't think there's bearish drivers that might break this zone here. So we'll just sell all the way to here and take our profits. The USD Swiss franc, we still have the same pivot point as this week's one, 94.40 zone. We're gonna be looking into buying here all the way to 0.92 and 0.93 500. So yes, these zones here are gonna be our buy zone, buy zone, and take profit and another take profit, and then from here maybe the market will start going down. But obviously we just look focusing on buying. We're not focusing on buying here and selling there, unless if we get another pivot point. You know if I send you another pivot point for the same pair, then you can look into selling when it gets to that zone. The USD the USD JPY, our pivot point for next week is 105.200. If you get a break here, 104 will be our pivot point for buying. But for next week, 105.200, this is the only zone I'll be focusing on. If it does not happen, we let it go. If it happens, then our first take profit 108, next one 1099. But we'll see how that goes, because this pair has its own rules. It just does whatever it wants to. It's not even correlated to inversely correlated to gold anymore. They over 80% correlated as much as I know. It's been a while. It's been a while since I checked exactly. It's been some years now since I checked, but in the olden days would be trading, buying gold and selling USD JPY, buying USD JPY, selling gold. But right now, all these pairs are just making their own rules, because of, different situations, different economy situation in different countries. So right now, pivot points, is the way, to know which one to buy, which one to sell. So I'll be looking at buying at 105.200, all the way up there. But if we get a break here, then I'll be just letting it go and focusing on other pivot points. And CAD JPY here, we don't have a pivot point, but an area of interest at 80. We got a breakout and a retest, and it was a nice buy setup. We actually missed it, and I shouldn't have missed this one. I was just too focused on waiting for pivot points on the USD CAD. It was just getting closer and closer that I actually missed this one. But the GBP JPY did the same thing, and that's fine, because we didn't even get a proper move all the way to the upside. Already we're getting a retracement down. And we'll see if the 80 zone, and we'll see if the 80 zone will hold, which I'm not even convinced that it will, but we'll see what happens here. And if we get a break below and a retest, then you can look into selling. But yeah, just make sure that you check that area of interest, what happens there. The USD CAD, it was a nightmare, because it got here to our pivot point, it held, got us into profit, retested again, got us into profit, retested again, got us into profit. Then all of a sudden it just broke that level, and it closed the day below our what you call this, our pivot point, and it retested it. According to our strategy, if this happens, if we get a break and we retest, this means that it's a sell. And yes, we got moves down, but eventually, on Friday we just got a break higher and a retest, and we bought here, and it started also trying to not respect this area. Then we got out that entry, but I left one of my account. I just left this trade, and right now it's in profit, and I'm just gonna let it go all the way to 133.500, which is next week's pivot point for selling, because I believe that this pair will likely continue down from this zone, because this is proper zone, like proper resistance. If you check here on previous price action, here it held as a support, and we even got a gap here, and Also here it held as a resistance. So from here, if we get a retest here, then we'll be looking into buying all the way to 131 zone and even 130 zone. You know, gold gold is also doing its thing. You know, it's very, very bullish, and our next week's pivot point is 1836. I mean 1863. We're gonna be buying all the way to 2129 and 2200 zone. So if we get a retest here, then we're gonna be looking into buying all the way to the upside. You know, we might get to see gold eventually going all the way to 2600, sooner rather than later. But for now, we're focusing on next week's pivot point, 1863. And yeah, I'll be holding all the way to 200 zone. So yeah, guys, remember to always be patient, wait for your pivot point. Make sure that, because patience pays off all the time. you know, Even though USD CAD tricked us this week, this is, market makers, but you can just see that we didn't lose much because every time it would trick us, would get out, with like, minus 10 pips, minus 15 pips, and so on. And right now, it's in profit, and, it's over, almost 30 pips profit. And, when it gets to, 133, 500, and this is where I'll be getting out. I'll be up by about 130 pips. So it always pays up. It always pays up to wait and make sure that you wait for the pivot point, uh, rather than just entering the market in the middle and get taking bigger losses. Because even though I give you pivot points, it does not mean that one or two of them won't lose. It will lose, but if you waited for a pivot point, then you lose less money, unlike not waiting at all and losing a lot of money when the pivot point does not hold. So patience, 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 guys. And obviously in the premium channel, I'll be sharing exclusive content. I'll be sharing, exclusive signals, pivot points as well. You might miss some of them because you think, like, I put everything in the weekly, Forex focus. So yeah, so we do take some trades, especially trades like the CAD JPY, which is trades that are getting interesting at the moment. We wait for area of interest and see how the price reacts, and we take them according to that. So it does not mean that if I'm giving you pivot point, it means that this is all we trade in the premium channel. No, it's not. We trade more. That's why we make more profits all the time. Then obviously our slogan is trade to withdraw. So we want to make those withdrawals at all costs. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me yet again this week. And I hope that you killed the market. I hope this pivot points helped you. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Join me again next week. Bye-bye.